Wife came home unannounced and saw her husband doing this with her only daughter. Hello family, welcome back. Please do well to subscribe and let's know where you are watching the story from in the comments section. Claire always believed her home was the safest place in the world. She was proud of the life she'd built with Michael, her husband of 16 years, and Emily, their 15-year-old daughter. To their neighbors, they looked like a model family. Michael was a well-respected lawyer, and Claire, a nurse known for her kindness and dedication. Emily was bright, polite, and loved by everyone who met her. But behind closed doors, reality was more complicated. It was a chilly Thursday evening when everything changed. Claire's hospital shift ended hours earlier than usual. She checked her phone, no new messages from home. She smiled to herself. Maybe she could pick up Emily's favorite dessert and surprise the family. She stopped by a bakery, humming to herself, then drove home as the sky turned from pink to deep blue. As she pulled into the driveway, Claire noticed Michael's car was already there. She thought, he must have wrapped up at the office early too. Maybe tonight will be one of those rare, peaceful family nights. Claire unlocked the door quietly, balancing her purse and a box of pastries. The house was unusually quiet. No TV, no music. Just the faint sound of Emily's favorite scented candle burning in the living room. "Hello?" Claire called out softly, not wanting to spoil her own surprise. No answer. She set her things down and walked further inside. Something felt off, like the house itself was holding its breath. Suddenly she heard a muffled sob. It was coming from Emily's room at the end of the hall. Claire's heart started to race. She moved slowly, careful not to make a sound. The closer she got to Emily's door, the clearer the sounds became. Her daughter was crying, and she could hear Michael's voice, low, urgent, almost pleading. "Emily, you know you can't tell anyone about this. If Mom finds out, everything will fall apart," Michael said. Emily's voice shook with fear. "But Dad, I don't want this. Please, I just want things to go back to normal." Claire's blood ran cold. She froze in the hallway, her mind racing. What is happening, she thought. What could Michael be forcing her to keep secret? She took a deep breath and with trembling hands pushed the door open. The sight that met her eyes was every mother's nightmare. Emily sat on her bed, knees pulled up to her chest, face red from crying. Michael was sitting too close, his hand gripping her wrist tightly. Both looked up in shock as Claire entered the room. For a long moment no one spoke. The silence was crushing. Michael tried to recover first. He put on a smile, a fake one Claire had never seen before. "Claire, you're home early," he said, voice shaky. "Emily just had a rough day at school. I was helping her talk it through." But Claire's nurse instincts picked up on everything. The way Emily's whole body shrank away from her father, the terror in her eyes, the way Michael's hand lingered too long before letting go. "Emily," Claire said softly, ignoring Michael. "Are you all right?" Emily stared at her mother, lips trembling, eyes desperate for help. She didn't speak. She just shook her head, tears rolling down her cheeks. Claire turned to Michael, her voice suddenly cold. "What's going on here, Michael?" Michael's mask slipped for just a second. Something dark flickered across his face. "I told you, Claire. She's had a hard day. Don't make this worse." But Claire knew her daughter. She saw the silent scream in Emily's eyes. She moved to sit beside her, wrapping her arms gently around her shoulders. "It's okay, sweetheart. I'm here now," Claire whispered. "You can tell me anything. No one can hurt you while I'm here." Michael stood up abruptly, jaw clenched. "You're overreacting. You always do this. You're making things worse for her." Claire didn't take her eyes off Emily. She reached for her daughter's hand and squeezed it, willing her to feel safe. After a moment, Emily finally whispered, "Can we just go? I don't want to be here with him anymore." That was all Claire needed. She stood up, guiding Emily with her. Michael tried to block the door. "Claire, stop. Don't do this. You're making a big mistake, he hissed. Claire stared him down, her voice steady and sharp. No, Michael. Whatever's happening here, it ends now. Move. The coldness in her voice surprised even her. For the first time, Michael looked afraid. Emily clung to her mother, sobbing into her shirt as they stepped out into the hallway. Claire pulled out her phone with shaking hands and called her friend Laura, a police officer she trusted with her life. Laura, I need help, Claire said, her voice barely above a whisper. It's Michael. Please come. Now. Michael stood in the doorway, fists clenched, but he didn't try to follow, his face twisted with anger and fear. Downstairs, Emily tried to speak but could only manage. I'm sorry, Mum. I didn't know how to stop it. I was scared. Claire hugged her tighter, tears finally spilling down her own cheeks. This is not your fault, Emily. Nothing that happened is your fault. We're going to get help. I promise. For the first time since Claire walked through the door, she felt something stronger than fear, rage. Not just at Michael, but at herself for not seeing the signs sooner, and at a world where someone she loved could betray them so deeply. When Laura arrived, she moved quickly and quietly, her face grave as she listened to Claire's rushed explanation. Emily was taken to a safe place. Laura stayed with Claire, reassuring her. You did the right thing, Claire, Laura said. This will be hard, but you did the right thing. As police lights flashed outside, Claire looked back at her home, the place she'd once felt safest. Now it felt like a stranger's house, cold and broken. She knew nothing would ever be the same again. But as she watched her daughter wrapped in a police blanket, protected at last, she made a silent promise. Whatever it took, she would fight for Emily. She would fight for justice, for healing, and for a future free from fear. That night, Claire learned that even in the darkest moments, the truth has to come out. And sometimes, the hardest thing a parent can do is open their eyes and fight for the child who needs them most. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love you to join our community by hitting the subscribe button. Through our stories, we build hope and give future to children and women abused all over the world. Also, let us know in the comments where you are watching us from and how this story hit home for you. The morning after Claire discovered the unthinkable, the world felt grey and distant. She woke on the living room couch, barely remembering how she'd fallen asleep. Her mind replayed every moment from the night before, the shock, Emily's tears, the look on Michael's face as the police led him away. Claire's hands shook as she dialed the school to excuse Emily's absence. She didn't have the words, only the truth. Family emergency. It felt empty compared to what had really happened. Emily was at Claire's side, eyes red and swollen, wrapped in her favorite hoodie. She hadn't said much since the police came. Every few minutes she glanced nervously at the door as if expecting Michael to return. Emily, honey, do you want some breakfast? Claire asked gently. Emily shook her head. She barely spoke above a whisper. I'm not hungry. Claire knew forcing things wouldn't help. She sat next to Emily and just held her hand. We're going to get through this. I'm here. I love you. The silence between them was heavy. It was the silence of secrets finally revealed, of pain that had nowhere else to go. Not long after, Laura stopped by to check on them. She was in plain clothes, her voice soft but steady. How are you both holding up? She asked. Claire hesitated. Emily's not talking much. I don't know what to do. Laura nodded. That's normal. She's been through a lot. The most important thing is that she knows she's safe and believed. Emily sat quietly, listening. Laura crouched down to her level. Emily, what happened to you was not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. We're going to make sure you're safe, okay? Emily didn't speak, but she nodded slightly. Claire could see the tiniest glimmer of relief on her face. After Laura left, a social worker named Mrs. Turner arrived. She specialized in helping children in crisis. Her presence was calm and reassuring, her voice gentle as she explained what would happen next. "Emily, I'm here to help you talk about what happened, but only if you feel ready. We'll also have a counselor come by, someone who works with young people who've gone through hard things like this." Emily squeezed Claire's hand tighter. Claire nodded at Mrs. Turner, grateful for her kindness. Later, as Emily sat with Mrs. Turner in the other room, Claire broke down in the kitchen. She cried, not just for Emily's pain, but for the sense of safety that had been ripped away. She blamed herself for not seeing the signs sooner. She wondered if she'd missed something, some small clue, and the guilt felt like it would crush her. Her phone rang. It was Michael's brother, Peter. "Claire, what's happening? The police came to the house last night. Michael's in custody. Are you okay?" Claire hesitated, her voice trembling. "Peter, there's no easy way to say this. Michael hurt Emily. I can't give you the details, but it's serious. Please don't contact us right now. We need space." Peter was silent. I don't know what to say. If you need anything at all, let me know." After the call, Claire sat at the kitchen table and wrote out a list. Things Emily might need, numbers for support hotlines, questions for the lawyer. She felt overwhelmed, but making a plan gave her some control back. That afternoon, Emily's counselor arrived. She was young, with a gentle way of speaking that put Emily at ease. She explained, "Emily, you can talk to me about anything you want, or not at all. Sometimes just sitting together helps." Emily nodded, not quite ready to speak. But she didn't run away. Claire saw that as a small victory. The days that followed moved slowly. Emily was afraid to sleep alone, so Claire let her stay in her bed. Some nights, Emily woke from nightmares, crying or gasping for air. Claire would hold her close and whisper, "You're safe. I'm right here." One evening, after a particularly bad dream, Emily finally spoke. "Mom, why didn't you know?" she whispered. Claire's heart broke. She stroked Emily's hair. "I should have seen it, Em. I'm so sorry. But none of this is your fault. I promise I'll protect you from now on. No more secrets. No more fear." Emily cried quietly. "I didn't want to get him in trouble. He said if I told, he'd leave, and we'd lose everything." Claire realized how deep Michael's manipulation had gone. She was angry. Angry at him. Angry at herself. Angry at a world that made children feel responsible for the sins of adults. The next morning, Claire met with a lawyer specializing in family law and child protection. She learned about the legal steps ahead, how Michael would be questioned, how Emily's statement would be recorded in a safe space, how a judge would decide next steps. The lawyer explained, "Claire, you've already done the most important thing. You protected your daughter. The road ahead will be tough, but you don't have to walk it alone. There are organizations and professionals who will stand with you and Emily every step of the way." After the meeting, Claire took Emily to her favorite park. It was a chilly, windy day, but for the first time in a while, Emily asked to go on the swings. As she pushed her daughter gently, Claire thought about everything they'd lost and everything they still had. She promised herself she'd fight every day for Emily's healing. She would never allow silence or fear to win again. That evening, Claire started researching support groups for families dealing with abuse. She found resources for trauma therapy, helplines, and online communities of mothers who'd walked similar roads. In the quiet moments, Claire wrote in a journal, capturing the pain and the hope. She wrote down the words she wished someone had told her. "You are strong enough. Your daughter will heal. This will not define your family forever." As the days passed, Emily started to speak more. She asked hard questions, and Claire answered honestly. They faced every moment together, no matter how difficult. And though the weight of what had happened was still heavy, the silence began to lift, replaced by the sound of hope, one small step at a time. The weeks after Michael's arrest felt like walking through fog. Every day, Claire woke up hoping it was just a nightmare. But the emptiness on Michael's side of the bed and the haunted look in Emily's eyes reminded her that this was all too real. The first real shock came with the court summons. Claire stared at the envelope, her hands cold. She read every line twice, barely able to believe that her husband, her partner, would be facing charges in a courtroom. That morning, she sat Emily down at the kitchen table, hands folded to stop them from shaking. "Emily, there's something we need to talk about. Soon you'll need to speak to someone from the court. You don't have to do it alone. There will be counselors and kind people to help, but they need to hear your story so that everyone understands the truth." Emily looked terrified. "Will I have to see him?" Claire shook her head. "Number. You'll be in a special room with people who know how to keep you safe. You can bring your favorite toy. I'll be right there, just outside." Emily swallowed hard. "Will they believe me?" Claire squeezed her hand. "Yes, they will. I believe you. Laura believes you. And now we need to make sure everyone does, so no one else ever gets hurt." The next day, Claire drove Emily to the Child Advocacy Center. The waiting room was painted with bright colors and filled with soft chairs and gentle music. Emily gripped her mother's hand so tightly, her knuckles turned white. The interviewer, Ms. Carter, had kind eyes and a gentle smile. She spoke slowly and carefully, explaining each step before asking any questions. When it was time for the interview, Claire had to let go. She watched her daughter disappear down the hallway, so small and brave, her heart aching with pride and pain. Afterward, Emily emerged quiet but calm. "She believed me," she said, voice steady for the first time. "She said I was really brave." Claire hugged her tightly. "You are, Em. I'm so proud of you." But outside the safety of the advocacy center, the world was less kind. News of Michael's arrest spread quickly. Some neighbors looked away when Claire passed. Others whispered in the supermarket aisles. A few sent awkward messages of support. But there were also ugly rumors and cold shoulders, people who couldn't or wouldn't believe that someone like Michael could do something so terrible. Claire ignored the gossip and focused on her daughter. She scheduled therapy appointments, read every article on childhood trauma, and kept careful records of everything, just as the lawyer had advised. One afternoon, Laura visited again. "There's a hearing soon. Michael's lawyers want him released on bail." Claire felt her stomach twist. "He can't come back here, Emily. She's only just starting to feel safe." Laura nodded. "The judge knows that. You've got a restraining order. If he tries to come near, you call us. But you should be prepared. His defense team will try anything. They might even try to make you look like the one at fault." Claire's voice shook. "I just want to keep my daughter safe." "You're doing everything right," Laura said gently. "This process is hard, but you're not alone." On the day of the bail hearing, Claire and Emily stayed with Laura at her house. Claire tried to hide her anxiety, but Emily saw right through her. "Mom, are you scared?" Claire hesitated, then nodded. "A little, but not for long, because the truth is on our side, and we have help. That's what matters." That evening, the lawyer called. Michael's bail was denied. He's staying in custody until the trial. Claire let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. "Thank you." The next hurdle was Emily's testimony. The lawyer and counselor prepared her gently, never pushing, always explaining. They told her, "All you have to do is tell the truth. That's enough." The day of the trial arrived. Claire dressed Emily in her favorite blue sweater and braided her hair just the way she liked. In the courthouse, Claire's hands shook as she waited, but she kept her face calm for Emily's sake. Emily testified in a private room, video linked to the courtroom so she wouldn't have to see Michael. Her voice trembled, but she spoke clearly, telling what happened. She answered every question, even when it hurt. Claire waited outside, tears in her eyes. listening through the door as her daughter spoke her truth to strangers in suits. When Emily finished, the counselor hugged her. "You did something so important today, Emily. You helped make the world safer." The trial was hard. Painful details, long days, Michael's lawyers twisting every word. But the evidence was strong. Claire's careful notes, Emily's therapy reports, medical evidence, and the professional testimony of social workers all helped build a clear case. As the days passed, Claire was amazed by her daughter's courage. They grew closer, talking late into the night, sometimes laughing, sometimes crying together. They found small joys, walks in the park, baking cookies, reading favorite books. Each moment of peace felt hard-won. At last, the verdict came. The jury found Michael guilty. The judge spoke of betrayal, broken trust, and the need to protect children above all else. Michael was sentenced to prison and banned from contacting Claire or Emily ever again. When it was over, Claire and Emily hugged each other in the empty courthouse hallway. For the first time in months, Emily let herself smile, a small, real smile. As they walked outside into the sunlight, Claire promised, "No one will ever hurt you again. We're free, Emily, and you are the bravest person I know." They left the courthouse together, ready to face a new chapter, one where healing could finally begin. The trial was over, but healing was only beginning. For the first time in months, Claire and Emily could breathe without fear. The house felt different, lighter, quieter, safe, but every room still held memories, some too heavy to face alone. Claire knew recovery would not happen overnight. She signed up for a family therapy program, determined to rebuild trust with Emily. Every Tuesday, they drove together to the counseling center, a small sunlit office where the air always smelled of tea and lavender. Their therapist, Dr. Bennett, was gentle but honest. She told them healing was a journey, not a race. "You can take as long as you need," she said. "Recovery isn't about forgetting. It's about learning to live and feel safe again." At first, Emily barely spoke during sessions. She sat with her arms crossed, her answers short and stiff. But Dr. Bennett was patient. She used art, music, and gentle questions to help Emily open up. Slowly, Emily began to draw her feelings, angry scribbles at first, then pictures of herself and Claire holding hands. One afternoon, Emily whispered, "Will things ever feel normal again?" Claire squeezed her hand. "We'll make a new normal together. It's okay if it's different. We're still a family." Outside therapy, Claire kept routines gentle and predictable. She checked in with Emily's teachers, explained what had happened in simple terms, and made sure Emily had support at school. Emily's friends sent texts and small gifts, a homemade bracelet, a stack of funny comics. Bit by bit, Emily's world grew safer, brighter. There were setbacks. Some nights Emily still woke up crying. There were days she didn't want to leave her room. Claire struggled too. Sometimes guilt crept in, whispering that she should have seen the signs earlier. But with help from her own counselor, Claire learned to forgive herself. She wrote in her journal every day, a habit that helped her process the pain and celebrate small victories. Claire also became an advocate for other families. She joined a local support group for survivors and parents. She listened to their stories, shared her own, and found comfort in their strength. Together, they started a campaign at Emily's school, educating staff and students about safe boundaries, mental health, and the importance of speaking up. Their story reached the local news. Claire sat beside Emily on the sofa, holding her hand, as they spoke on camera. Not about details, but about hope, justice, and why silence must never win. Emily, nervous at first, said, "I was scared for a long time. But I learned that telling the truth is the bravest thing you can do. And if you're hurting, you should always ask for help." The community response surprised them. Letters of support came in the mail. Claire's neighbors, once unsure, now offered help. Hot meals, offers to babysit, donations to local charities supporting abused children. Months turned into a year. Claire and Emily built new traditions. Sunday walks by the river, movie nights with popcorn, letters to each other, hidden under pillows, filled with love and encouragement. Emily's laughter returned, slow and cautious at first, but growing stronger with each passing day. Her grades improved, she made new friends, joined the art club, and even started a blog for teens about healing and resilience. One spring afternoon, Claire found Emily in the backyard, painting in the sun. She sat beside her daughter, watched the brush move across the canvas. Bright colors, hopeful shapes. "Are you happy, Em?" Claire asked softly. Emily paused, looking at the sky. "I'm not all better yet, but I know I will be. I'm not afraid anymore." Claire hugged her. "I'm so proud of you. You're stronger than anyone I know." Moral lesson. In the end, Claire realized real family is built on trust, honesty, and love, not secrets or appearances. Healing after betrayal takes time, patience, and a village. But it's possible. No one should ever suffer in silence. If you or someone you love is in pain, reach out. There are people who will believe you. There are professionals who can help. And no matter how dark things feel, there is always hope for a new beginning. The story of Claire and Emily is a reminder that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to do what's right, even when you're afraid. Justice matters. Healing matters. And in the end, love can light the way through even the darkest times.